Well, they finally did it. After years of trying to crack the code on handheld gaming, the release of the PSP, PSP Slim, PSP Go, PlayStation Vita, there's probably something else in there somewhere that I forgot that was also kind of terrible. But Sony has finally done it. They have put out a handheld gaming unit on the market that might actually stand the test of time. After multiple false starts and promising products, Sony is now in a position to challenge Nintendo's dominance in the portable gaming market.
Wait a minute. I feel like something's not right here.
Let me look at this a little bit closer. Clearly, this is a PlayStation 5 in handheld form, right? Look, the distinctive look of the controllers, that's a clear match for the PlayStation 5 controller style. So let me look at the fine print here. Okay, sorry everyone, please stand down. This was a false alarm. This is not a new handheld console solution from Sony at all. Not really. It is a new Sony Edition mobile gaming option, all right. And through the power of Sony's Remote Play service, we will be able to scratch the itch to play many of our favorite PlayStation games on the go. But this isn't a new Sony mobile gaming system. Sorry, I got everybody excited. Don't go pre-order yours. It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. It's actually a new mobile controller for our phones called Backbone, pairing the universally well-regarded Sony PlayStation controller style with the mobile phone many consumers already possess. And perhaps this is the best way for Sony to truly compete in the handheld market, maybe. Not with their own console, but by partnering what they do best with the strengths of others to make a product that merges their strengths while mitigating their risks and minimizing their flaws.
Maybe, just maybe, this is what they should have tried doing in the very first place. From the promising launches and the eventual failures of all of the different PlayStation portable family of systems, Sony has tried many times and failed to crack into the handheld market in a sustainable manner.
And in the years that followed, Sony had to sit back and watch as Nintendo expanded on their handheld dominance with their highly successful hybrid Switch console, while the Steam Deck has captured the mobile PC gaming market, leaving Sony on the outside looking in, gazing longingly at a dream that was once theirs, now being happily lived by others.
Very happily.
And that is a feeling I feel like many of us can relate to as well.
So, many times the dreams that we carry in our hearts clearly within the Lord's will for our lives, but all of our attempts to access it are still unfruitful. In our prayers and devotional time, we keep finding verses that encourage us, like, be strong and of good courage. I'm like, yes, I like that a lot. But then every time we try to take a step in any direction, we're just met with roadblock after disappointing roadblock, causing us to wonder if we heard from the Lord correctly. We run the equivalent of an internet connectivity test on ourselves. Validate, it goes through and it checks to make sure, are you connected to the internet? Did you turn the power on? Do you have the right password? Are you on the... So we do that on ourselves. Are my motives pure? Did I prepare myself completely? Is our connection with the Lord stable? And we go through all those confirmations, but then we still find ourselves unable to launch. And in those moments, it's easy to question everything. From ourselves, our dreams, even the goodness of the Lord, when the dream that He's placed into our heart remains painfully out of reach.
But within the strange voyage of Sony's failed handheld history into the launching of a product that finally checks all of the boxes, we may find the answers that we're looking for.
I sure hope so, because we're making a video about it. One of the most difficult parts about the dreams that the Lord gives us is that they aren't typically answered within, a vacuum. Their timing and fulfillment are dependent on the intersecting dreams of others as well. Sony began their journey into the handheld space way back in December of 2004 with the very first original PlayStation Portable. And after 15 long years of trying and failing to disrupt the handheld marketplace with their offerings, they finally ceased production on their final handheld console in 2019.
Their dreams seemed to be dead, but what they didn't realize was that in the summer of 2018, a new dream had sprung into life in someone else's heart as a new tech company named Backbone quietly emerged from the shadows. Nobody would have possibly predicted at that time that these dreams would somehow coalesce into a combined vision for the future.
But here we are. 2018, Backbone starts. 2019, Sony gives up. In 2022, Sony has finally found a partner that can breathe new life into their dream. With Backbone providing the technology, you've got Apple supplying the mobile phone hardware, and Sony gets to tap into their reservoir of games and the remote play capabilities that gives Sony the mobile gaming option they have been trying unsuccessfully to build on their own all of this time. It took nearly 18 long and difficult years to get to this point. But now that the timing is right and the technology is present and their perfect partner has arrived, Sony can finally see their dreams fulfilled in the hands of gamers all across the world.
The hardest part about deferred dreams is the waiting. And the reality is that sometimes it's not God waiting on us, but on others to reach the place that they will need to be so they can join us on this journey.
Sony had a vision that wasn't able to be fulfilled until the power of mobile phone technology that's currently available could support the demands of the gaming audience. And of course, Backbone didn't even exist as a company until Sony had finally reached the point where they had given up trying to fulfill this dream on their own. And part of the painful truth about the fulfillment of our dreams is that those who start the voyage with us may not always be the same people who are destined to finish the race with us. For example, Barnabas was the right partner for the Apostle Paul in phase 1 of his ministry. But it was Silas who was specifically chosen by the Lord for the second and third missionary journeys that Paul would undertake. Sony, they took on several different technology partners over the years to try to accomplish their dreams. But now that the correct partner has emerged, the core strengths between each of those companies will finally deliver on the dream that Sony had had so many years ago.
When we find ourselves in a situation where our God-given dreams feel stifled, but the vision in our heart is compelling us to continue to believe and persevere, it is easy to reach a point of frustration, doubt, and disillusionment. And it is in those moments that we need to pray for our partners that we may not have even met yet. Undiscovered supporters who will one day serve a vital purpose for the realization of the Lord's calling on each of our lives.
Joseph had Pharaoh, Moses
Right?
had Joshua, Ruth had Boaz, David had Jonathan, Mary, she had Joseph, Paul had Silas. And as a body of Christ, we have been built not to only be codependent on Christ, but also on each other to fulfill the shared destiny that can only be completed by submitted believers working together to serve His purpose. So let's not allow despair or discouragement in these seemingly delayed or deferred dreams to cause us to stop believing and pursuing the destiny that the Lord has placed into our hearts. Let's instead be encouraged by the knowledge that all of this will be made beautiful in its time. We only see part of the picture from our current position, and that is by design.
But as every dreamer has eventually found to be true, if we are faithful to walk in obedience and faith in the Lord's plan, He will always fulfill His promises. We may simply be waiting on the right alignment of a partner that is essential to His plan to climb the other side of this mountain.
And Sony found in Backbone the partner that they never knew they needed. When we both finish climbing up our respective sides of the mountain, we will meet together at the top so we can finally see the promised land and reach our combined destiny together.